Now, keep in mind that they say that this matter had been settled for quite some time right after the Queen's funeral in the conversations that they had with King Charles, right? This is what they say in the statement that they released, that this matter had been settled for quite some time with King Charles after the funeral, right after the funeral of the Queen. So they've known all along. So while they were standing there, supposedly, with the Queen, with everything, with Netflix, with the book, with the deals, with everything, they were standing there knowing that they had gotten the titles that Meghan Markle and Harry wanted, especially Meghan Markle, right? They stood there. They went to the funeral. They did the Netflix thing. They did all these interviews right after because they haven't stopped trashing. So I'm calling it bullshit. They didn't get it right after the funeral. They got it now because Harry's ready to write another book and Meghan is ready to keep talking. Had they gotten it right then and there, right after the funeral, we know that this couple is unable to hold things. They would have done it a long time ago. They would have named it Prince and Princess. This happened just now. This happened. This isn't like, oh, it happened for a long time. This conversation was done when the king, after the Queen died. So they stood there knowing what they were going to do and say with the Netflix. Calling, what was it that they called the monarchy? An institution colonization 2.0 of slavery. Please watch the video because we're going to get into something. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm sorry it looked like this. I have to go to the hospital, but let's get into this video. Hello, beautiful people. Yes, we've seen how King Charles has reacted now. He has given titles, Prince and Princess titles, to Harry's kids. You know, Queen Margaret, the Queen, she took away the titles of Prince and Princess to some of her grandkids because she says they don't need them. She's actually slimming down. It's yeah, there was an uproar, you know, this is, and they were angry. Queen Margaret of Denmark, she did that. She said, no, those are my grandchildren, but you know, they don't need the titles. They can be called lady or whatever it is that they're called. But here we have King Charles' answer to slimming down the monarchy. This is King Charles' answer to giving titles. And let me tell you, Joachim of Denmark, he wasn't even trashing the royal family like Harry and Meghan are. But they were living abroad. The kids had like modeling jobs and stuff like that. And the Queen said, no, it's the heir and that's it. So for those of you who have criticized me because of King Charles, the way that I go at him, I want to see how they're going to come up. And I know, you know what their response is going to be? It's going to be, oh, well, the letters patent. Meaningless. The letters patent can be changed. Charles has been saying for how many years that he wanted to slim down the monarchy. He just expanded it even more. Because whatever children Harry's children have will have titles. So you know. If they go by that letters patent, I really do hope, I have to go back to the hospital so I can't do very much. I really do hope that the title, the bill for removal of titles passes, because whatever children either of them have right now as it stands will have titles. Okay, because they're the children of a male thing, even though it's been changed with primogeniture. This is what Charles has just done. And he could have easily done what Queen Margaret did, which is, no, we're going to slim down the monarchy. It's only going to be the heir, blah, blah, blah. That's it. And the children. This is why the Queen gave Prince William's children the titles and not Meghan and Harry's children, because the Queen, much likely was leaning towards not giving them any more titles and just leaving them as lady or so. This is why I keep saying that I mean, I wish I could go to the coronation in May just to boo King Charles. Every boo he has earned, he just gave the finger to the entire United Kingdom and everybody else. Because make no mistake, and I don't want to hear any YouTuber being an idiot saying that the king was powerless, because that's not true. It's up to the monarch to decide whether or not to give titles, and he just did. And those titles are going to be passed on because they don't end with those two kids. So this is a huge symbol that no matter what they do, no matter how much they trash, and people are going to say, oh, this is great because it's going to show that Meghan and Harry's racist. No, this has far-reaching consequences for the Constitution of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. This has far-reaching things. And he did it because, oh, Meghan is going to call us racist because of her white, very white children are not going to be prince and princess, even though she says she wants to be linked at that rank, and that's their birthright. That's not a birthright, that's a title. And please understand that it's a title that's bestowed at the pleasure of the monarch. So do we now understand how Charles lies about everything? Remember when he said he wasn't going to meddle in politics? He hasn't stopped meddling in politics. That thing he did about Ukraine, it's impossible because now Russia, the government cannot count on Charles to hold talks with Putin, you know, and to bring peace, to try to bring peace, because he has taken a firm stance against something that he shouldn't have meddled in. He hasn't stopped writing things. He hasn't stopped talking about the environment. He promised he would. Now, I'm going to ask you guys this. City, does this mean that those children are getting taxpayers funded security? Because Meghan, please, was clear about this. The reason why she wanted those titles was because of the security that they were going to get. So does that mean that you beautiful people in the United Kingdom are now paying for taxes? Your taxes are being paid in millions, because that's how much it takes. It took about £6 million, and this is by Harry's estimates, which are pretty accurate, for security for Harry and Meghan. So you're looking at about 10 million, 11 million a year to keep Harry, Meghan, and those two kids with security. And to this date, according to the rules, they have still yet to provide. And all of this is being done without following the protocol of showing the certificates with the doctors testifying that those children came out of Meghan Markle's body, as it's mandated. Why is that mandated? Because of all the huge privilege and constitutional ramifications it has. No proof of baptism, no following of the rules, nothing. This is just because King Charles wants to be popular. Remember when I told you that Doria is coming? She is coming. And they will have, I will hear people saying, oh no, they will have, I'll be saying, they will have prominent roles in the coronation, just like Charles gave them prominent roles during the Queen's funeral, in spite of the fact that the Queen did not want them to be prominently featured. The Queen, you saw, because you saw what the Queen did. It's like the Jubilee, you're going in the back row. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. The Queen had already made very clear what she thought, where she thought Harry and Meghan belong. But here we have King Charles, and many of you are going to come, but it's his son. He could be invited, be his son in a private capacity to the party afterwards. What have I been saying about King Charles? And what did I say yesterday? We're going to see if he has the ovaries of steel that the Queen had to do the right thing, or if King Charles has balls of fluff. And he's a hypocrite. He's a liar. He has a zero moral compass. He has thrown the United Kingdom, the good name of the monarchy, because they haven't stopped trashing. There's a famous saying, give a mouse a cookie and he will want milk, and then he will want another cookie, and then he will want more milk. It's an endless corrupt cycle. And that's what Prince Charles is. So I want to hear you at the defense without saying, oh, it's his son. That has nothing to do with the monarchy. It's the letters patent. The letters patent has become irrelevant because it's been changed from primogeniture to gender. And it was also changed when the Queen gave the Louis and Charlotte titles. And it's entirely, completely up to the monarch. Charles could have said, no, they're going to be lady and lord. They already have titles. They can use those titles, and it ends there. No, by giving them the title of prince and princess, whenever they have kids, they are going to be prince and princess. Oh, and the HRH is going to be kept in abeyance. It's like giving you a little bit, oh, but it's, hooray, they're not really royals. They are. They are. And this has been done all under your noses. I've been talking for years about, well, not for years, for a couple of years. I've been talking for a couple of years about the tax situation. This thing with Frogmore is a way for King Charles to give Harry and Meghan Markle money. 2.4 million pounds to be exact. And he still gets to use it until July. It's going to be mostly for tax purposes. Now, Meghan Markle and Harry, even though Harry is sixth in line to the throne, or fifth in line to the, he's a nobody, doesn't live in the country. He has already said that he doesn't want to be in the UK, that even flying into the UK gives him palpitations. How happy he is to be living in the USA, how he's happy that his children are away from that, how he's glad to be giving his children the home that he could never in the UK, how the UK is so dangerous that he can't even be there. He couldn't even be bothered to go with his, because it's easier for him to move, fly to the UK, go to any of the British chapels, arrange it, baptize the child there in the culture of the title that they so desperately want to use. Because even though it's going to be used in occasions, make no mistake that Meghan Markle will never call her kids just Archie and Lily. They will be called Prince and Princess, just like Harry. So all of those of you who have called me all kinds of names, you're telling me now that King Charles doing that is not a reward for that behavior. How are Meghan and Harry ever going to be, how are they going to ever be modify their behavior? How are they ever going to change their behavior or understand that what they're doing, defaming? You know, I feel so bad for the people who were bullied, abused by Harry and Meghan Markle, because I can see why they don't come forth. Not because of what Mr. Valentine Lowe said, that, you know, oh, the press and you know, they don't want to anger them and blah, blah, blah. No, because they know that no matter what, Charles will throw them under the bus. And now we have Ngozi Fulani, Marlene Headley, coming back to the news, saying, oh, I didn't get the proper apology from the palace. They had her over at the palace. Lady Susan Hussey sat with her, apologized, says that she was going to have education for asking somebody who is a liar, who's usurping a name, who is not even dressed in correct traditional clothing, who was born and raised in the United Kingdom, whose parents are Caribbean, not African, going around in the news saying, oh, I didn't get the proper apology. And she has stepped down from the charity. She hasn't stepped down. She's under investigation. But King Charles had her come and sit there, give a mouse a cookie, and they will want milk. This is why you don't deal with terrorists. That's what Harry and Meghan are. So tell me if I'm justifying everything I've said. This is why Charles doesn't have the moral ground to stand up to people like Harry and Meghan Markle, because he's just like them. What Charles wants, Charles get. The Duke of Windsor was forced to abdicate for marrying a divorcee woman. Charles was having an ongoing affair with Princess Diana throughout the entire time, trashing her, Camilla was. I mean, this is not even open for debate. She was feeding information to Stuart Higgins from 1982 when Diana was pregnant with Prince William. Trashing her, calling her crazy, putting her on the papers. From 1982 to 1992. Charles is not, he doesn't care about the monarchy. He cares about his name, and because he has so much garbage to hide. He has so much garbage to hide that he has to give in to whatever they say. He did give money to Camilla, 180,000 pounds a year when she got divorced, because he felt responsible for it and he wanted to support his mistress. So Camilla had to make do with 180,000 pounds. Plus all her debts were paid, food, a clothing allowance, everything. Camilla was not supposed to be queen consort. She was supposed to be princess consort because he agreed with, that was one of the agreements. King Charles, and I've been saying this, and I know you guys don't pay attention to this, but King Charles basically, he removed himself. I'm trying to use the correct word. When he married in a civil ceremony, he disqualified himself from ascending the throne. He did. The law to this day says so. The blessing of the church, no. He rallied the Archbishop for almost 2 years of England in order to have them accept and marry him in a church ceremony, as it is order and dictated for anybody to accede the throne. And the church said, not with Camilla. And what's happened? And there were even lords of the House of Lords, that said, you know what, we need to do like a new bill or something, you know, to make an exception for this. But it was ignored. Instead, they cited the European Union Human Rights Convention, which has nothing to do with the UK, because nobody was saying, Charles, you can't marry Camilla, but they were saying, if you do, you cannot be king according to the rules. This is why the House of Lords, a few of the House of Lords said, we have to write something, make an exception or something in order for it to be legal for him to accede the throne. And I know you guys don't believe me, but that is the truth, and it's there. I even put the marriage link, and where it says the article, everything. And what is the response that many of you give? Oh, but he got a blessing afterwards. That's not what the law says. He had to be married in a Church of England, not in a civil registrar's office, because he's the head of the Church of England. So here we have him slimming down the monarchy by giving 2 children who don't live in the United Kingdom from his son, who has said that he can't stand the United Kingdom, who is suing his government for security. So the serious question to be asked, have they gotten the security and you guys don't know about it? This is a very serious question, you know. And he's doing this because he thinks it's going to be popular, and he doesn't have any balls. Queen Margaret did the right thing. Queen Margaret of Denmark, she did the right thing, not the popular one. And it's quieted down. People have quieted down, you know. So let me know what you think.